today's topic are tokens. I believe I mentioned this word very many times before, but now we finally will deal with that and get into that and understand what is it, how it works, and how it affects everything. So here we will be talking about what are tokens, how prices are set, and how to deal with those prices. Token basically is a text measurement unit. AI systems use that to break down and process words, texts into manageable pieces, piece by piece. Words, parts of words, punctuation marks become individual blocks, chunks, or simply tokens. Usually token is around 4 characters, but it's much more complicated than that. You can see here in this example. This example's been built using byte pair encoding algorithm and generated out of these text 34 tokens. There are some more algorithms available. Different models can use different algorithms, but the general idea will be exactly the same. We are splitting texts into chunks so AI models can operate them. What are qualities of those chunks or units or tokens? They are indivisible. Token cannot be split into smaller tokens. There is a finite vocabulary, so list of the all overall possible tokens, all the combinations of the characters within a token should be somewhere around 50,000, maybe 100,000 of possible combinations. So token vocabulary is not infinite. And then finally, each token numerically represented, so has its own unique ID. Those IDs are important. We will not make a deep dive into tokenization, but makes sense to understand what tokens overall in the end for AI model will look more or less like that. So each token has its own ID and it's reversible, so knowing which tokenization algorithm was used and what's the current token ID, we can reverse it into the original content. Now, as token is a measurement unit and building block of AI mechanism, then everything is decided and everything is measured into tokens. For example, if you open GPT-5 model pricing, what's active right now, the day I record this video, it will be something like $1.25 for 1 million input tokens and $10 for 1 million of output tokens. What that means? Input tokens is everything you send to the model. So your user prompt, environment details, system prompt, custom rules, like everything what goes to the model. All your files, all the context you give it counts as input. Then output tokens, what are more expensive. So for GPT-5 today, it's $10 per 1 million of output tokens. It's everything what model generates as an answer. So reasoning, thinking, tool use, answers to you, everything what goes to the agent. And then as those numbers are not really that useful, because, for example, how would you calculate a ratio of input tokens to output tokens? Frankly, I have no idea. Then Kilo simplifies that. So as you can see here are real data counted averages for the last week, how people using this model on Kilo, what was final results for them for the last week. So for example, we see what people using GPT-5 last week were paying approximately on average 5 cents per requests, or approximately 57 cents per 1 million of tokens. That's considering cash reads. And by the way, what is a cache with? C read you see down there, it's about caching. The point is, a big part of prompts can be cached. They don't change so often. So, for example, files, what model will use to understand your problem and suggest some improvements, for example, they all can be cached if model supports caching, if provider supports caching. And those repeated parts then will be read not from your prompt, but from cache, and it will be significantly cheaper than just sending something new again and again. Important to understand what not all models will support caching. But anyway, those who support usually will perform slightly cheaper than those who don't. Although there are, of course, more factors. Speaking of price ranges, on the YouTube you can find comments like that. So people were burning a lot of dollars in an hour. My €5 was gone in 2 minutes. This is not normal. And meanwhile, you can meet comments like that. I've been working 16 hours and I only spent 5. Who is right? Well, they both are right. It very much depends on which model and provider you use and how do you do your prompts. So, in this part of this episode, we will see how to choose models and providers wisely. And in the upcoming episodes, we will take care of basics of prompt engineering and understanding context window, which affects your expenses heavily. Let's begin. So, first thing what's important for us is to understand how to choose model. Using kilocode provider, you can quickly switch your model right here in this quick selection tool. But it doesn't give us a lot of information, right? It's just quick switch when you already know what you want to use. So I will stay with Cloud SNet for here for a moment, but let's better dive into settings. And first thing, we need to choose, we need to take a look at the providers. There is a kilocode provider already pre-selected because it's a default configuration profile. You can create more, but for today I will stick to kilocode. And here I can choose model having more information about that. For example, here you see I have Cloud SNet 4, which supports prompt caching, which is great, which is currently have context window of 200,000 tokens, context window we discuss in the next video. Then we see what average price for that will be approximately 7 cents per requests, but don't get confused to that. One request is not equal to one task. During a task, you can do tens, maybe dozens, maybe even hundreds of requests for reading files, modifying files, executing console commands. It all will be a single standalone request. SNet is not the cheapest one, that's for sure. So, but the overall idea here is you can see how much approximately one request cost and how much it going to be for 1 million of tokens. You can make a deeper dive and see what's the pricing and what's the available context window for different providers. So in this case, you see what finally SNet now is available not only on Anthropic like it was not so long time before, but now also it's available on Amazon Bedrock and Google Vertex. So Anthropic and Amazon Bedrock are currently offering up to 1 million of context window, which is very nice, but price will be everywhere the same. That's the request from Anthropic. Anthropic sets and controls this price. Now, that's SNet 4 is for today decent model with not that bad pricing, but there are better options and worse options. Speaking of worse options, if I, for example, switch to Opus and go to Opus 4.1, it gives us absolutely insane numbers of something like that. And yes, choosing going with model like that, you can burn a budget of a small country in no time. So be aware of what the model price you are working with. You maybe don't want to go with Opus 4.1 today. It's good, but not that good. Now, finally, there are very friendly models like Qwen Coder. As you see, all the friendliest, all the most used models are here on top and highlighted in bold text. So if you go with Qwen Coder, for example, it will be something much friendlier with 2 cents per requests and overall prices looking like that. As discussed, as Qwen is an open source model, it's delivered by different providers. So you can see what different providers here giving different prices, and shoots will be cheap, and then I don't know, Bassetten will be slightly more expensive. But the idea is you can choose the provider you want. Like for example, today you want strictly go with the cheapest possible because you're maybe a student and don't want to spend a lot of money on that. So you can simply stick to this provider and just work with that. But what will happen if tomorrow someone else will give you a better price? You will miss such an offering. That would be sad. So you can, in the provider routing, decide for provider with lower price, and then KiloCode will automatically switch this provider to you for the new cheapest available, which is very, very nice. Now, one more thing to talk about is max cost per task. If you go to auto approve tab and scroll down here a little bit, you will see a very nice place, max count, max cost. Max count is not that important for us right now and today, but max cost, which is by the way empty, so unlimited by default, can be dangerous if you launch some task and then go drink coffee and AI model goes in circles trying to do something again and again and then improve and then test and then improve again. So to prevent it from happening, you can set some reasonable max cost per task allowance, and then this budget will be reached. Auto approve will stop, and for the next actions you will need to approve them manually again. So fail-safe guardrail here, pretty nice one. I'm not that limited with money, but still prefer to keep max cost auto approve enabled, as you see. Then finally, there is one more interesting place which you want to know. You might be watching this video significantly later after it's been recorded. So what's the current most reasonable model to use if you need to keep costs under control? Go to OpenRouter. They have a very nice ranking for that. So I'm on the OpenRouter website, and I will go to models, scroll down here until I can choose programming, and then I can choose sort top weekly. Now you see what are the most commonly used models right now. You can immediately see how good are they, what are the current prices, and therefore decide if it's model interesting for you or not. So Sunnet might be a little bit more expensive, but then take a look at Gemini 2.5 Flash. It's significantly cheaper, but as name says, Gemini 2.5 Flash it will be faster than smarter. Maybe that's not what you want for your architect mode. Very nice. So when keep scrolling and see there is a DeepSeek 3.1, which has a very nice price, significantly better than Sonnet, many times difference, right? And still it's a large reasoning model, which is very capable, which deserved its third place on the last week ranking. For your time, couple of months later, it may look very different. So you can sort models like that and see what works for you. Maybe you will be fine already with Google Gemini 2.5 costs, which is a very capable model. And by the way, offers significantly higher context. So I hope it was useful for you, and now you know how to use, how to choose models wisely, how to keep inference providers under control. And then I have a special congratulation for you, special award. As you passed through so many of the episodes already, I think finally it's time for us to make a practical one. So next episode, we are going to be writing code. Isn't that exciting? So keep watching.